She's a lot bit woo-woo, and she's doing the do. Welcome to the Woo and the Do podcast, where Irina and Christine Michelle teach you how to combine the spiritual and the physical, because you get to use all of you and the universe to manifest a life you enjoy. Come join us. Let's have some fun. Hi, everybody. It is Christine Michelle.
And Irina Pichura.
Hi, and we are back with the Woo and the Do podcast. We're super excited about our topic today, and it is all about getting shit done, but getting it done your way. So we are going to share our top 3 ways that we are able to stay productive, but we also have productivity and maybe non-productive things that have been happening in our lives, and we can share with you why we know how to get productive, and it may be because we weren't productive in our lives recently. So Irina, I know you have a story about productivity. You want to share it?
Yeah. I mean, ever since corporate and venturing into entrepreneurship, I've tried to find a way to stay productive. Most productive, right? And I felt like I was doing so many things, and the more that I did, I felt like, okay, now I'll feel more accomplished at the end of the week. But that just like wasn't happening, right? I was doing more and getting more shit done, and having a to-do list and checking things off of it. But by the end of the week, I still didn't feel as though like I actually accomplished anything or like was actually moving the needle in my business. And it comes, I think, from like corporate. Like in corporate, I had like my to-do list, and I would like check things off. And by those standards, it worked. Like it got things done for me. But like as I segued into entrepreneurship, it just wasn't really productive for me. So I definitely started implementing some new things, which I'll share with you. And I'm very excited because I have been a lot more productive. I know I've told Christine so many times how excited I am about being productive, because there's nothing worse than at the end of the week, doing so much and feeling like fatigued and actually passing up on things like going to the gym or like spending time with loved ones, and still feel like you're not getting anything done. Like you're not getting any kind of traction. So that's something that we'll talk about today.
Oh, I know what that feels like. Of course, you guys know, I was in corporate America for 20 something years, and I've always had really large teams for supporting me, or myself leading larger teams. And I know with my last position, I had a large team, people in Texas. I also had a couple of people in Canada, which was my Canadian girls. Hello, if you're watching and or listening to this podcast. I miss you. And then I had my team that was here in Florida, and we managed probably about 60% of the $2 or $3 billion business, which meant that we were managing probably about 100 or so projects each person. So under me, there were thousands of projects. And this happened when I was with Coca-Cola and with Victoria's Secret. I just always had a ton of projects under me, and really was responsible for not only managing the people, mentoring, coaching, and all of that, but also getting a lot done. So I've had to be extremely productive and very planful, but also strategic in what I did with corporate. So once I left corporate, I know my soul was really calling for me to ease up on the rigid, like really being very planful, but also still including that strategy in addition to flow. So that's where I'll come in when I'm talking about the 3 things that help me, because it'll be in more of a strategic flow piece, because I know how to get a lot done. I know how to stay focused, but I also wanted to make sure that I'm allowing myself to tap into my soul in addition to um, getting all of it done.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so that's cool. So Irina, tell us, what are some of the things that help you stay focused now that you've shifted, you've moved from a side when you said you really were just doing it all, do, and
Yeah.
now you feel so like like you feel just a lot of lightness and relief because now you feel like you're really getting the right things done. So what did you shift?
Right. Yeah, so this shift happened really recently, just a couple of weeks ago. And again, I was like a scattered, like frazzled entrepreneur with my hair like all crazy, like doing all of the things and trying to figure it out and wondering whether or not I should hire a VA or who is going to help me. I can't afford this. And just being really frantic. So I started actually working with a coach one on one, and the way that she recommended that I take up my next project is by solely focusing on that one project for the next 90 days instead of all of these other things that in actuality aren't really doing anything for me. And they could be doing something for me, like say I'm posting a lot on social media and building that momentum. Yes, that takes time, and I know that the benefit will come from it eventually. But the things that are really going to move that needle like in a big way for me are really to stick to that one thing and really put my focus on that one thing. So I actually have it on a journal here, like what my focus is for the next 90 days. And it is that one thing. And then I planned out what are the different like smaller steps that I have to do to get to that one big goal in that 90 days. And as I'm checking it off every single day, it's staring me in the face. And I do recommend either getting like a nice whiteboard and putting down what that big goal is, so it's like staring you in the face. And anytime you kind of rear off and start focusing on other things that are not really aligned to that big goal, you kind of like look at it and go, okay, I'm not there, I'm not doing that, I'm not focusing on that, and get back into it. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been really helpful for me, and just like eliminating all of the distractions. So I'm not sitting in my inbox. So I do post on social media from time to time, but that's like when I really do have my downtime. It's when I would have been kind of like, watching TV. I'll post something. It's not taking away from that big goal, but I know when I'm waking up, I know what I'm working on. I'm not thinking, okay, because as an entrepreneur, it's like your own playground, right? You could really focus on any number of things, and there's so many things to be focusing on, like your email list, your clients, your website, so many things. I mean, we could literally put down a list of a million things that we could be working on potentially. So putting that one goal down and focusing on that one thing and what's going to move the needle for me and my business has been really tremendous.
Awesome. Do you have certain techniques that have allowed you to get that one thing done? Like you have your board that you said you wrote down, and then you broke down that one thing into specifics that need to flow into that one thing, right? Your sales activities, whatever it is that you need to get done there. Like and what else did you do to really break down that goal so that you know exactly what you're doing?
So I am actually like reverse engineering a process right now. I'm actually building a sales funnel. So I already know, we're working like from the back ends, and we're reverse engineering kind of like the process. So I have my like little steps. So I'm really focusing and honing in on that one thing. So for example, right now I'm working on an upsell that comes after a webinar, and I'm solely dedicating my time to filming and recording that video content for it. So I know for the next couple of days, like I'll be working on my script, I'll be working on the content that goes on the page, I'm working on the actual video, and I'm going to be like working with an editor, and I'm, pushing things off to people, which is another thing that's really great. Is for the longest time I've had trouble with pushing things off to people, whether it's a VA or someone that can edit my videos, because I felt as though I could do all these things myself, and yes I can, and no one can. I felt like no one can do it as well as me. But just like releasing certain things and really realizing like those things aren't all that expensive. Like to edit a video would take me probably a whole day to do. And I found someone online on Freelancer that could just do it for like $20 for me. Like what is $20 for, like a day's work for me. Like I could be really focusing on other things. So delegating things and really staying focused on that one thing. Once I'm done with that one thing, I'm moving on to the next thing. And I get so much like sense of accomplishment by checking that box off. Like I got that done towards my goal on top with my little tasks underneath of that. So that's been really good for me.
Okay. So just to
Yeah.
summarize for everybody, what I'm hearing is that you have one goal. Like what you did was you got focused with one goal,
Yeah.
right? So you took this one goal and then you broke that one goal into little points, right? Little
Yep.
things that need to get done within those goals. So mini projects.
Yep.
And then you take each mini project and you complete each one at a time.
Yep.
So you prioritize those projects and then put them in a certain order and then check them off the box so that you can get each one of those projects done.
Yeah.
And
So it's,
from there, you feel the relief. And then what you've done for the day, when you're done with that, then you go and you're doing your social media and the other things that you're doing within your group so
yeah.
that you still build that community, you still build that role, but you're making sure that you don't do any of that until those specific things and tasks are on your plate or
Yeah.
off your plate and you've done them.
Yeah, I love how you summarize that. So yeah, it's that main big goal, smaller goals, and mini goals. And by the end of the week, like what would have probably taken me 6 months to do, I've accomplished in the last like 3 weeks. I can't even believe it. So it's like I look at the stuff and I'm just like, wow, it's stuff that I've wanted to do. It's stuff that I knew how to do, but it's stuff that I, you know, because I'm, multitasking and I have, the brain of a Gemini who wants to do this and wants to do that and wants to be everywhere and do all of the different things. And, just like having that bipolarity a little bit. I'm really not like, moving forward. So that's really been incredible and really like good for me to stay focused. And also, the accountability of having someone that I speak to for about 15 minutes that I know I'm speaking to her, like say at the end of the week, I'm going to get that shit done. Okay. So even if it's the day before, I have to tell her like number one task is completed. Like we're ready to move on to number two. There's no way that I could have done that by myself. And accountability, very important in entrepreneurship, I think.
Okay. So to be productive, also you need someone to help you stay accountable. And that definitely, I hear that for a lot of people, like having someone there to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, because it's very small percent, a very tiny percent of people can say, this is what I'm going to do and actually go through and do it. Having someone to help you stay accountable, really, for the majority of people listening to you who's listening, it really would help you stay on task, right?
Yeah.
And really stay on task.
Yeah, I just think there's so many distractions too, right? Because like I can stay focused. Like I obviously I'm an adult. I can't get things accomplished. It would obviously take much longer. But by having this kind of like accountability, I'm like second guessing like, okay, should I take that 1 minute to go on Instagram, which is really gonna turn into 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes? Should I pop into my inbox, then see one thing, then go astray onto another task, forget what I was initially doing? So I think that by doing those things, that's what's really like kind of held me back and from accomplishing it a lot sooner, is by having so many distractions out there. And the internet, as you know, is like a big distractor. I mean, I can pop on YouTube, look up one thing to do one thing, end up researching something completely different and really not really ever get back to that one thing. And if I do, the day has ended already. So that's kind of been my thing.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Where your focus goes, grows, right? And that's something that's woo-woo, and it's actually very practical. So where you do focus, that is what grows, And I think that, like for me, when I think about some of the things, like I said, I manage these huge teams. I had tons of projects under me, so I already had to like have a focus, have a very strategic way of doing things. And when we worked together, you were like, "How did you get all that done?" And it's just because I work very, very, very fast, because I've always had to work super fast. So that's just something that I do. So when I stepped out of corporate America, I needed to step back and like really tap into my soul and really start to listen to my soul, because I would get into planning and agreeing to do these things. And when I agree to do something, I'm going to do it.
Oh, I know that.
Done, right? And so it's, I had to step back and really say, okay, what does this look for me? What does productivity look for me? What does life look for me? So my story was that I tried to just step back and totally like let it fly from the seat of my pants. And that did not work. I was like, yeah, airy fairy. I'm just going to let it flow. I'm going to just let it flow. And it really stressed me the fuck out. I was like, I was getting things done, but I was like, oh my God. I was listening to my soul and I was doing what I needed to do, but that just didn't work for me. And it does work beautifully for people, right? There's some people that work beautifully in the midst of chaos, and that's great for them. For me, I needed planned flow.
And the woo and the do.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, planned flow, because I had spent so many years being strategic and planning every single aspect, I couldn't just go from A all the way to like Z and not plan anything. So when I went into the middle and said, okay, I'm going to plan out content, like plan out what I know I want to say, plan out how I want to share it, and really have things scheduled and consistently being shared, that took the pressure off my shoulders to wake up every morning and say, what do I need to share today? And then have to like make sure that I get something out by a certain time of the day. So what I do to balance it with my plan flow is that I like to look forward, and you guys, I've created this YouTube channel where I am creating these series, right? So look forward, really think about, okay, this is the series, this is questions that I've been asked, and these series of videos will answer those questions. Create content based on that, and let that all be planned. Go to the group, go to my business page, go to my personal page, go to Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things. So all of that content that's all connected is definitely going out. And then that allows me to flow. That allows me to wake up in the morning and say, what do I get to share today? In addition to the planned content that's going out. And then I'll also have an idea of, okay, this is what the planned content is sharing. Soul guidance, what else can I share that connects with that planned content, so that everything is branded and works together. And when I say that, that took some relief, it gave me so much relief, because I wasn't sitting in the chaos land. But I also wasn't sitting in, this is strategic, this is my planned marketing calendar, this is no flow, I cannot change it, there is nothing that I can change, this is the way to go. And the way in business, we used to plan months out, like years out. And the way I work is just things shift and change, and I always want to be able to have that space to grow and adjust. So that has helped. There are three things that I do to help get things done, right? So like I told you guys, when I would work, I would get my bosses, the VPs, they would be like, you get probably like 5 weeks of work done in 1 week. How? And I was like, well, I think some of it's just natural because my mom's like that. But what I also do is the Pomodoro technique. And that helps me 100% focus on one thing. But because we have social media, we have this, we have that, right? Pop-ups, notifications, all this stuff. For me, is to turn the phone around, turn notifications off just for 25 minutes. That would feel like you're not going to lose touch with the world. No one's going to forget who you are. You don't feel like you've not answered an email for an hour, right? You say, okay, 25 minutes, I'm going to focus on X, right? So 25 minutes, I'm going to sit here and focus on editing this video. Or 25 minutes, I'm going to sit here and focus on writing the blogs that associate with each one of these videos. Or for 25 minutes, I'm going to write the emails for the week that go with this content, right? And so for 25 minutes, you sit there and just focus. And then put the alarm on for 25 minutes. And then once the 25 minutes is up, the book, Pomodoro, tells you to take 5-minute break. Who can take a 5-minute break? No one can take a 5-minute break. I don't take a 5-minute break. I will take and when they say break, is a break from what you're focused on. But
Mm.
I will break and I will check the email. I would do the social media posts. You'll do whatever you need to do, respond to someone or client, whatever. And then from there, it's probably like 15 to 20 minutes. So it's another 25 minutes. Then you get back and then focus for the 25 minutes. And when you just sit there and batch things within those 25-minute aspects, you can get so much done. And it's because of that focus. Like Irina said, that focus on her one wildly important goal, her wig, that focus on that wig, her wildly important goal, gets her to know, okay, these are the projects. Okay, this is what I need to do for this project. And these are the mini projects and the mini project that's in the mini project. And she can feel good and she can feel relief every time she checks it off and knows that it's done. So
Yeah.
the Pomodoro technique has really, 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 really helped me. And in addition to that, like I said, planned, scheduled content. And I know some people are like, well, that's not in flow. And how do you know? No, I allow, and I've connected with guidance in that I said, okay, whatever I write, whether I write it today or whether I wrote it a year ago, there is someone who's going to hear it today, hear it whenever it posts, and know that it was just for them. Because what we share doesn't change, right? You manifest reality, doing the do, whatever it is, it's not going to change because they listened to it 2 months ago. I mean, 2 months from now, it's still the right content. So I had to teach myself, because my mentor, she's more into the chaos and she loves creating on the fly. And then I had to step back and say what works for me. And that was planned, having something there, and then knowing that it's done and feeling the relief of knowing that I was serving and connecting with my audience in some way, giving them something. And then lastly was to tap into flow. That's my third thing. And I know it's a very woo in this, like, how does that work? For me, it's starting my day and just really tapping into what needs to be shared, what needs to be heard. And whether that's something where I'm recording a video series that won't post for years, or whether that's something that needs to be posted right now at this time on a blog or on a something. I just tap into that and I write like, okay, this is what needs to be shared. And then from there, I can figure out how it needs to be shared, when it needs to be shared, and make sure that all of that is done. So it all works within this planned thing. But yeah, I totally agree with Irina with having that one goal. Like, for example, let's say your goal is to grow your business and you want to, have reoccurring income come in, right? And then for you to do that, you create a sales funnel, or maybe it's a membership program or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you'll say, okay, I'm creating this membership program. Then, okay, what goes into creating this membership program and having it grow? That could be a funnel that feeds into the membership program. That could be a piece of it, right? It could be a course or YouTube or just getting traffic to there, and then that's there. And by you breaking things down in small bite-sized chunks, that helps you get even more productive. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love this. I know that I totally agree with flow. And even when you're working on the stuff, just like asking for guidance, like, what would be the easiest way for me to do this? Like, for example, right now I'm recording video, right? And I was like really stressed out about it. I had like my panties in like a twist about the whole thing. Like, oh my God, just, it's one thing to go live and have that kind of energy. It's another thing to, have your diva light and your phone in front of you. And now you're like, and especially if you're not like really, kind of like, doing this all the time, right? So you start stuttering and umming. At least I know that I do, especially when I get nervous in front of just like, sitting in front of a camera, staring at myself. So it's just like me closing my eyes and, asking source, like, what's the best way for me to do this? Like, let the words flow through me. Let whatever words need to come out, whatever the people need to hear who are going to be receiving this message, let that flow from me easily. And what is the easiest way for me to do this? Right? So even if it was me getting a teleprompter, I actually asked, like, what is the easiest way for me to do this? And I found an app that has actually, a video with a teleprompter inside of it. So I'm recording at the same time, so I don't have to get a teleprompter plus like my video.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm not actually 100% reading off of it, but just so I don't forget like the main speaking points, it's flowing there. It makes it so much easier for me. So there you go. I asked Source, I asked Universe, what's the easiest way for me to accomplish this one task? And it gave it to me.
Yeah, it's always that question, because you always know that there's always one an easier way. And two, it's always like, how do I trust and know that what I'm saying is exactly what everyone needs to hear, even if it has the alms, even if it has the study. No one wants a perfect thing, right? This live stream or whatever we see, it's not even a live stream, it's a podcast. See, no one cares. No one cares. They just care about you. They can feel your soul. They can feel your love and feel what your energy is behind sharing this message. And that's all that they care about. And that's what's beautiful about it. So it definitely is all about tapping into your soul, tapping into guidance and asking for the help, right? And surrendering and believing that what is flowing from you is connected to source energy and guidance. So I love that. This was good. It was so good. So guys, you heard the 3 ways I do it, the 3 ways that Irina does it. Definitely rewind this, listen to it again. Definitely please share this with your friends, share this with your family. You can take a picture in your Instagram stories and tag us at the Woo and the Do podcast and tell us what 3 ways you use to get productive and stay productive. Or if you're like, I'm not productive, I need help, what ways can you suggest? Do that and tag us, and then you can get to this audio and more people can listen to it, and then they can use the ways that we use or think of some other ways that fit for them, because it really is tapping into guidance and say, okay, what are 3 ways that I could become more productive, and trusting that what you're receiving is the right answer.
For sure. I love this topic.
Yeah, so fun. So that's it for us. This is a nice, fun way where you can really tap into now 6 ways for you to get more productive. Let us know. Leave some comments. Please leave a review. Let us know what you learned, what your favorite thing was. Hit subscribe on iTunes, Google Play. We're also on Spotify, and then we'll get to some of the other places. So if you want to see our podcast there, you got to leave a review. You've got to tell us where else you want to see our podcast. And we look forward to connecting with you on the next podcast. Anything else you want to say, Irina?
Yeah, if you guys have any topics that you would love for us to share, woo, do, combined, we would love to hear it and do a podcast on it. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hugs, kisses, and all the feels. And remember to let your woo fly, your woo freak fly flag, and continue to do your do. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Woo and the Do podcast. If you loved it as much as we loved recording it for you, please leave a review. And join me and Irina on Facebook and Instagram at The Woo and The Do. Also, please come hang out with us in the lounge on Facebook. It is our insiders group. You'll have access to me and you'll have access to Irina, and we will give you show notes and freebies and all kinds of amazingness, and you can connect with more listeners of this podcast and have a listening party. In the meantime, remember to embrace all of your woo-woo goodness and continue to take that divine inspired action and do the do. Bye.